Thursday, July 17, 2019 Planning Board meeting into order. I'll take the roll call. Mike, are you here?
Here.
Jeff, are you here?
I'm here.
Lisa?
Here.
Joe?
Here.
And I'm here, so we have a quorum. First thing on the, I handed this out just for information. This 41 inconvenient truths of the new energy economy. I think it's just interesting reading. You may or may not believe what it says. It leaves out storage and battery storage and that kind of stuff, but you know, some information. Jeff's added Town of Smithfield Municipal Court Ordinance. I'm sorry? Oh, there you go. Why don't I do that? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes of June 19th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's, how many of us are here? 5. Okay. Town budget diagram. Last week I did this for you on an envelope, so I thought you might want to look at this and go over a little more. The thing about this diagram is there doesn't have to be any numbers. It's the diagram that's explanatory. This diagram is about the 3-0 budgets we have. And you can see those 3-0 budgets had that much of a loss. But the bigger part that goes out and says time value of money loss, that's the total loss of cutting money from the town budget. So, last week I told you you could never get it back. This week I'm going to tell you I lied. Okay? I can get it back by cutting the expense side of the budget. So I can take a piece of the expense side of the budget, the right-hand side of the budget, take it right off, and the two sides will then equal. So let's call the piece that's missing $1 million, all right, from the revenue side. And let's say the police department costs $1 million, and we're going to cut it off the expense side. So now the budget is equalized, right? On a $14 million budget, what's 4%? What's a 4% tax increase?
560,000.
Okay, so, but I lied, because the budget's no longer $14 million, it's $13 million, because we've gotten rid of the police department. And there's no longer a need for a 4% tax increase, because the police department is off the roll. So let's say there's a 3% tax increase, because the schools are going to come in, Mike says, from now on, they're 4%. So what's 3% of $13 million? 390,000. If there's 3 years of 3% increases, what's the total? 1,270,000. Okay? So in 3 years, you will have wiped out the savings. Now, once again, it can be argued I lied. All right? We only raised the taxpayers' money 1.5%, and we only dip into the savings 1.5% for the 3% increase. So now it takes 6 years to get rid of the savings, and you no longer have a tax increase. Joe, you and I always talk about we want a full-time planner, right? It doesn't matter what the number is here. Once you cut this side, and you can't ever get back what you want, the planner, the zoning official, and that's why on a town budget, not on a state budget, not on a federal budget. That's why on a town budget, cutting does not work. It cannot work. This town must produce new revenues. So there are people on the planning board, on the zoning board, on the council, who have political beliefs. But this town is too small for those beliefs to be put into work here. This little diagram that I have produced for you is the true workings of this community. And every time you affect one or the other sides of this triangle, upside down triangle, you throw the whole thing in whack. The only thing that this community continues to need is new revenue. And right now it seems to be solar farms. And if we don't continue to get new revenue, I'll go back to the left-hand side, all right? And that left-hand side will continue to grow as the right-hand side, the expenses go up in inflation. And I really think everybody involved in the town should understand this little concept. Does anybody have any questions on this? Arguments? There you go. Okay. Moving on. Do you want to say something, boys? Maybe you'd like this. I'll give this to you. Maybe you could learn something.
Really drawing this diagram?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Your behavior just never ceases to amaze me.
And good for you. Thank you for your comment.
Can we speak on something?
Yeah, let's,
Correspondence?
yeah, what did you want? Did we already, you mean that, the energy thing?
No, the only thing with this, I thought this was funny, because if you read this, it would seem that green energy is a waste.
Well, you have to take it from what
And
you
the way it
produce.
is like, because it's not efficient, and there's probably more harm to the environment than there's.
That's,
No, I'm sure this is one article.
that's one article, one opinion, and that's why I gave it to you.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah, it's an
Very
interesting article.
You know, so it's kind of anti.
I don't know if it's anti-Joe, it's giving you, go ahead.
They didn't get into what they do with all these batteries that they make, all the waste and all the batteries and stuff.
Yeah, there's so much that
Golden
is,
as it looks on the surface.
there's so much that isn't in that article. But you can't have an educated conversation about this stuff until you look at both sides of, all the sides of the arguments. And nobody, truthfully, I don't think anybody knows what the true,
I think they're finding out because it's getting more and more around, and you're seeing the effects of it environmentally and everything, and the cost of it to the people and to the taxpayers and to the people buying electricity. So we're paying more for electricity. Our government's funding these things, basically, and to produce enough electricity to really be efficient is so expensive that it really seems that it's almost a negative on the environment
well,
in some ways.
I'll say this. This article, no place can I find the true value of a gallon of oil. If I have 2 ships in the Straits of Hormuz protecting oil tankers for England, all right, that's a cost to a gallon of oil. So that's why I gave you this. This is an interesting article that, who produced it? Okay, so search out more stuff. Anything else, Joe?
This comes to me as an important thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I know it had come up a few years back with the charter. Is this something that maybe Jeff should approach and try to reduce mission limits? I don't know. if
I
that
think
would be necessary.
I think they pretty much picked their topics, Joe. I think what I'm gonna try to do through Jeff is have us do some footwork on it and pass it on.
Because there's other avenues of doing something like this without a charter change, or would you need a charter change?
I honestly don't know. Joanna, what do you think?
I can't really hear the question.
Okay, the question was, on Jeff's article about a municipal court, does it need a charter change for Foster to do a municipal court? That's the question, and the answer is no. Okay?
That's what I thought.
So, but starting the conversation here, moving it to the council, 3 or 4 years, okay? Somebody has to start. Anything else? Yeah, Lynn.
I was just going to say, years ago when it was brought forward as a charter change, all the groundwork was done for this town specifically. And I'm sure if you go back in the minutes of past charter commissions, you're going to find all of that work. Granted, it's like 20 years old, but still it was how, who is going to be the clerk, who is going to be the judge. And also you'd have to inflate it, but the costs are there.
That was a charter? Because I remember, all right, so
It was.
you know what year, and I'll go get the minutes.
I
Was it
want to say
Bevel Aqua's year?
sometime
His son was in charge of the
2002,
Okay, I know what year it was,
2005.
okay, all right,
Yeah, Helen was on the.
All right.
Controversial.
all right, so I'll hunt it down, and I'll get it to Jeff. Okay, you have, 2 letters, one is the truck ordinance and one is the blight ordinance. What I'd like to do tonight, if possible, as we get into the agenda, I'd like to finalize these 2 letters, comments, information, and pass them on to the council. I think we've done all the work we can on this, and my expectation is I don't feel we're going to come up with much more. So anybody have a statement about that or think about it? What I'd like to do with the 2 versions of the truck ordinance is, Mike, I'm going to ask you to put a forwarding letter together with all the comments of fairness, 5-acre zoning, use, maybe some fees, if a possibility of fees, and send your version and Joanna's version after you produce the letter, bring it back to us, then we'll send it to the council. And they will ask them to read it into the record and take action or not. I don't know what else we can do with it. So,
Is that being put on the agenda item F?
yes. See how easy that was? Okay, so we're on agenda item F, truck ordinance review. What do people feel about what I've just said? I just introduced that. Do you want to continue to work on this, or do you want to move Joanna's version, Mike's version, and a cover letter forward to the council of why we've talked about this and think it's something they should review? The chair of the council has been here the whole time, so I'm sure she's got, a pretty good idea of what this is all about.
Joanna, now these are 2 separate sections, so these both would be changed at the same time?
Well, no, I typed out Mike's version verbatim, word for word. There was some discussion about whether or not we wanted to have a special use permit and in what instance. Some people said we want it here, some people said we want it there. I thought that some additional provisions might be important. So I kind of put together a different version. So if we wouldn't send both, they have to choose. Well, if we send both, they have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, and Or they have their own attorney and they could come up with some medium. It's more about the discussion we've had and what we've produced to this point, I think, but versus sending them, it's up to you, that's what I'm proposing. It's your discussion, Mike.
I think we're there. And we are at that point where we have committed some versions.
King, yeah.
And I'll do the forwarding letter. I think the both versions probably a good idea. Follow lead to educate us and include that additional, information in the ordinance. But our point was that we had an ordinance that was out of date, and amending it made a lot of sense. And the reference documents are here now, so it should be pretty simple to just draft a letter, just what we came up with, why we came up with it, and what we recommend.
Exactly, that's what I'm proposing.
The council can, I'm sure if it's easy to do and it makes sense and it's not something that'll bite us down the road, that's the way to go. We should move forward on that.
Yeah, right? Is everybody in agreement with that? I don't need a motion to vote, just, so if you'll produce this letter, next meeting, bring it back, we'll review it. Okay, now you have my blight letter, and I'm looking for additions, subtractions, suggestions. Mike, I had asked you to do a letter on public safety to be added to this. So, remember we had that conversation about you doing a letter about public safety on the phone? Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm asking you to write that letter as a public safety person so we can add it. Doesn't have to be today. What I'm trying to do is end this up. You have my letter. I am going to add this. This is a letter Lynn Ryder gave, an article Lynn Ryder gave me, and this will be added. Providence Evening Bulletin, Friday, December 7th, 1973. And the headlines read, Route 6 area in Foster labeled one of the state's worst slums. So that will be added to the blight ordinance after we work it. The other thing that I have gotten,
Could I just say we came across that in preservation?
okay, yeah, so it's interesting, it's
I
just,
thought it was pertinent.
I did get all the zoning violations on Route 6. I got all the zoning violations Red had written. The only ones I think that are pertinent to this letter, the other ones I got rid of, are these letters on Route 6. Most of them are buildings without ordinance. There's a couple on Foster Feed, and there's a couple on a guy on the zoning board. I'll leave them unnamed. I don't think they're important. I'll add these to the letter if anybody would like to review them. I do think there's something pertinent to what we've been talking about. None of the things we've been talking about have been cited. Okay, so the buildings that are falling down, the sign that is falling down, the stuff we're talking about, the heavy blight, none of it has been cited. So, wait, I got you. First question, do you want to add to our letter to the council the 6 items we've been talking about, or do you just want to send this letter forward and let them think about it? Joanna, do you want to add to this right away?
I just want to clarify the statement that is listed as something that I said, and it is in quotes,
What's that?
and it's taken out of context. You asked me, would a judge award attorney's fees? And when I told you it was a 50-50 shot, and some of the reasons against awarding attorney's fees, not approving, taking down a building, not awarding expenses, but awarding attorney's fees, a judge may consider that no action was taken for a certain amount of years, and then we expect immediate action. So the comment is not in proper context.
Okay, so would you like, I don't have any problem, being corrected. Would you like to please get me, your statement, send it to me, and I'll add that to this letter? I wasn't trying to, misquote you, I assume would be the proper term. Now, Mike,
Just on review, we had a couple of things. Number one, the state building maintenance code was submitted by the rep.
oh, that's right.
Really gave a lot of.
Okay, Red's letter.
That's in here.
Yeah,
It is?
Oh, yeah, that's in there. But
All right.
on my public safety letter, a lot of what's in the state building maintenance code relates to safety. So I plan on including that in the public safety letter that I'm writing.
Right.
Okay, that from a public safety standpoint, whether or not you enforce the state building maintenance code, if there is an incident related to public safety, that's probably how it would be determined. If in fact it was in that list of things that are considered reasons to act based on public safety. So I want to make that link.
Right.
Now, the other thing I'd like to make a link on, because good time, the planners there and the attorneys there, we have issued lots and lots of violations. And we were going to, that was another project. We were going to look at those violations simply because there was a bunch of things happening. Revenue is important, collecting taxes is important, the blight ordinance, we call it blight ordinance, it's really the state maintenance code is important. And it would be, I think, a good part for the council to be able to say, these are the violations we've issued relative to this
All right, let me ask
public
you,
safety issue.
don't you think, I'm not
How far
questioning,
back should we go?
well, the reason I separated out the things that are falling down.
Yeah.
I have all the other ones. Don't you think that would be part of Jeff's work on what a municipal court would be doing? And
It was related to that, it was related to the revenue, because a lot of these properties that we made the assumption that maybe some of these properties that are derelict are not current on their taxes. We also were concerned about the fact that some of the violations that were cited were not enforced, because again, we don't have the money to start a court with a lot of these folks. So I guess to balance things out, as you write your blight letter, as I write my safety letter, okay, we should try to tie this together, because overall, what we're trying to do is improve Route 6, and all these are related issues that we're gonna have to deal with.
okay, do you want to make the comment in this letter?
And the safety.
In this letter, not your letter, my general letter, you want to make comment about there'll be future reference to all violations in the municipal court discussions.
Correct.
Okay.
Because that would be a good give and take place to act on what in fact has been ignored for over a decade.
Okay.
As we move forward. So that, leave to Jeff, but I would include the factor of safety. Safety is a big part of the state building code, the building maintenance code. And we have issued violations, but we haven't enforced them. And the quantity of violations over time, that was what I was thinking. How far back do we want to go on this?
Well, I only did ret, and I only did first violation. I didn't do second, third, I'm just a simple little site of, I was more interested in, is there overlap between what we're talking about and the violations that have been cited, and there's no overlap. Interestingly, I don't know who has them, there's one violation in there about a couple of trees that got cut down at 190, I think it's pole 198, which is the end of Route 6. I don't know how you can ride down Route 6 and miss some of that, but, we're pretty much on. Now, anybody else, add, subtract, addition, suggestion to my letter, my blight letter? Joanne, I had asked you, I'm sorry, I need to ask you. Should we comment about the 6 items we have noted, or is that up to the council and the zoning official? Or do you think, so we should not put that in the letter? Okay, thank you. Yes?
I would think that in your letter, you want to emphasize the volume of, what do you call it, violations. Because on a stretch of road, that, I don't know how many miles that is, but it's not that many, it's not that densely built up. But the sheer number of violations that could be addressed, be it in a municipal court or a judge or, state court or whatever, I think that would be attention getting.
All right, well, what we have is 10 written violations on Route 6, and I'll add that. This report, numbers of violations. Now remember, I'm going to have to somehow say these are the ones that are been violated, and there are other possible violations. Yeah, Gordon.
Of the 10 that you have violated, are most of them or all of them are rectified? So a violation would be somebody stripped the roof and put a shingle on, they didn't pull a permit. So they were violated, they went down and they paid the fine and it was rectified. Of those 10 violations, are they rectified or have the process of appeal done? Because you appeal to zoning from a violation from the building official before you even get to municipal court. So the question is on them 10, of those 10, have they been rectified or appealed?
See, the point was, you seem to have missed it. The point is, it isn't. I separated out, you've missed a couple of meetings because of your involvement at the state. I separated out the obvious numbers of sites of buildings that are falling down and our health and safety, what do you call it, Sam? What I was looking for in this is have they been cited? And the answer is no. The ones that I've noticed, I would say that some other people may have noticed, are not cited. So I'm really not interested in correction. That's why I didn't do second violation or the rest. It's just a matter of my focus was here on the few buildings that are falling down and are a danger to the community. Lynn, you want something?
So the answer to that question is you were not going to answer the question of those 10 violations.
That's correct. I'm not going to answer the question because it's not pertinent. Moving on.
I know I was shocked at the laundry list of things that Anthony read last time, and things that would warrant condemnation or warrant action on the town. And when he went through that list, I doubt there's 5 buildings on Route 6 that would escape. And this is the state coming forward. I mean, there were things, like an open window, or there were things that I would consider minor, but it is in state law.
So that's, yeah, I'm sorry, Jeff.
I kind of got 2 questions. One's for the solicitor, and that is,
There's the
if you say that those 6 that we discussed weren't cited, some of those are the most egregious that we had. So what, I mean, was
but
it
I'm not-
they weren't?
They are not cited. The ones that I have noticed, okay? So
The next
Joanna,
question.
hold on, Joanna has said we may not include them. So, but somehow, my letter is gonna say seem to be obvious, Mike's gonna run health and safety, and we're not gonna ask why they haven't been cited, we're gonna suggest that the town follow the state building code. Your second issue.
My second question was, we have a building, I know we're not supposed to name names, but it's gone into, it went to a tax sale. And does that protect them while they're in, from being cited?
No.
So they can still be cited and be responsible for the building?
Well, who would be responsible is the question, because if it was sold at tax sale, somebody purchased it at tax sale, it would still be against, technically the person who purchased it would be the owner, but then the original owner has the right of redemption. But any of that, no, does not get an overall from them, and the site was filed properly.
And it would be the name on the deed, that's who gets cited.
Yes.
So I told you we were gonna do 20, 30 minutes. Anything else on the blight ordinance, the truck ordinance, anything else? What we're gonna try and do is next meeting, I'd like to have both letters formulated, send them forward to the council. At the bottom of the letter, we're going to write, to be read into the record, all right? And that way we know that the council has the information. If they choose not to work on it, or next time. Mike had one other suggestion that I thought was real interesting. Joanna's given you her monthly report, which I've asked her from now on to add to the agenda.
Jennifer.
But the other thing Mike had a suggestion in talking on the phone, future agenda item, this is I'm going to speak to. We should have, on the back of our agenda, we should have a list of the things we have worked on. So, just like Joanna's, yes, Ben?
No, when you go.
Just like Joanna's letter, date July 1st, 2017, we first mentioned what we talked about, what we did, who it was assigned to, and an ongoing record of what's happened until we send it to the council. Yes, Ben?
I just wanted some clarification. You said Joanna is submitting a monthly report, or do you mean Jennifer?
Yes, yeah, okay. How about Jennifer?
That works better.
Thank you. They're both J's, and
I
I'm
understand. Age happens to me all the time.
Anything else, anybody? This one little thing that I gave you, wherever it is, that little triangle, that's the simplest explanation of running a town. And one side has to equal the other. And if we don't produce revenue soon, we'll be closing the doors. All right, anything else? Future agenda items? Yes, Mike?
Just on revenue, as I said, a lot of the things that we discussed relate to revenue. And one of the things that is really, really important, on the revenue side of things, is we don't want to forget the capital budget. That too, and I don't, I'm seeing how things fit together, okay? Because I've been on the board for a while. But capital budgeting has never been capital budgeting because we don't borrow money as a town. And I don't know if that's a historical thing or a moral thing, that it goes against the moral fiber of most of the people in Foster to borrow money. But if, as a town, as the charter gets revised, we have a charter committee, okay, that's looking at making revisions to the charter. We have got to take a hard look at what a capital expense is now, and I'm just speaking from a business standpoint, but the simplest explanation is if the bank will finance it, it's to capital expense. Because the return on investment is a key element for a capital expense. Right, and married to that, because we used to always get bogged down with the DPW budget and the capital budget. And a big part of that problem was the fact that if you can't get a return on investment, which this year we looked at leasing, return from rent, outright purchase, and capital. We need to have that in our mind going forward, because we can't be talking about generating revenue and running a town on a budget if we really don't borrow money where it's appropriate. If we're building a new bridge to replace a bridge that's gone, that's a capital expense. That bridge has lasting value. You could probably put a 40-year amortization on that bridge. There's nothing wrong with borrowing money to build that bridge. More, because it's needed.
You must stretch your money. That was our conversations of renting and leasing.
I don't know how we can keep the focus on annual events like capital budget and things like that.
But I can tell you how, Mike. Let me cut you off, okay?
Yeah.
I wrote the council a letter as a citizen, okay, and I was the chair of the planning board. And mentioned the word modeling. You first must build a model, a future model of your expenses. And we don't model. What we do is we deal year to year. If you want to talk about a model, we have a model of buying a fire truck. In 3 years, we're going to buy a fire truck. But we don't model the whole package of our money. And if we had a model, you could figure out which thing you were going to lease, which thing you were going to rent, and at the end, and there are spreadsheets that will do this, and at this point, we're a cash economy in this town, and we can't continue to be a cash economy. Simple.
Well, that's
So-
part of my 10-year plan.
Yeah, so we had the conversation this year. We've asked did you have your hand up? I'm sorry. Did I?
No.
Sorry.
Here was my, sorry.
So we've had the conversation with Kelly. We've asked Kelly next year to come in early. We'll have the conversation again. And hopefully these things will start to happen, because it should be obvious by my little triangle that we cannot continue to be a cash economy. Yes, ma'am. How do you like that, man?
Should be on the council.
Two things for future agenda
You should be on
items.
the council.
Cucumber Hill and Harrington Road.
Yeah.
With the barn. They've submitted their preliminary
Right.
plan, so that'll be a hearing. Next meeting, which is August 21st. And we potentially have Diane Kano. She hasn't submitted it yet, but she said that she probably will.
All right, so you have to make sure that you get the information to Joanna or whoever, and we're prepared for those hearings. But again, our letters should be short. By this time, all this conversation, we should be able to push these two things forward and get them off our agenda. A year is enough. Anything else? Hearing none, I have a motion to adjourn.
So,
There you go, Joe. There you go, Mike. Joe and Mike. Only motions in the night. Oh, no, except for the minutes.
Pick the garbage up you throw on the floor.
Yeah, I will. I thought you might want it, but, for you, it wouldn't.
No, it's too steep for me. I'm
It
not
is too
intelligent.
steep.
I'm not intelligent, remember?
I know that.
At least you know yourself.
See, somebody asked me about you on the, what do you call it? I said, you were excited about it.
it was about 20 years